maybe we can just start from the beginning, because if I'm not mistaken, you had watched a YouTube video of mine or read a blog. What inspired you to reach out from there?
So I am 57 years old, and I think I've been on a diet or some kind of a diet since I was 13. I've kind of lost and gained the same 20, 30 or so pounds over and over again. And over the last few years, I really have thought about this whole idea of eating enlightenment before I even knew what it was. Certain things like I'm not going to go on another diet. I'm going to just have a healthy life. I want something that's sustainable for life. So I made that commitment several years ago. And when I see all these things about joining another whatever, Jenny Craig, I never did that. I would do different workouts and different plans. And so I was looking over the internet and came across your tapes, and I'm like, oh, I like this guy. He's young. He has so much energy. And you said so many things in your videos that resonated with what I've been thinking, kind of what I knew in my heart. And I was like, okay, I'm going to get in touch with this guy. So we decided to do the program.
Yeah.
Is that how it happened?
Yes. You had scheduled like a free strategy session.
Okay, that was it. Yep.
And I remember we talked on the phone, that first conversation after you scheduled the free strategy session. Do you remember what that was like for you?
Very comfortable. There was never a time like I felt like I could just be very transparent and very honest with you and say, hey, this is where I am. I was never judged, or I felt like every session you met me where I was. I took a big leap, I think, financially and time wise, because I felt like I'd been kind of dabbling in this with the books and the thinking and kind of looking on some other blogs. I thought, you know what, I'm just going to immerse myself in it and see if this is what, feels right, instead of kind of dancing around the outside.
Yeah, you took that plunge. You invested time, money, heart.
Yeah, and time, the money was a lot because my husband counts pennies. So the money was for us a lot because we have 4 kids, 3 are in college, and the time was even more. But it was really good because I made myself a priority. Right.
Yeah.
It wasn't hard to do the time, but it was hard to schedule that twice a week and really show up.
Yeah.
I think I only canceled twice, which
Yeah.
was a big deal for my busy schedule.
That's true. And I think we rescheduled or something like that. But yeah. So maybe we go high level in the beginning and then try to drill down into some insights that you learned and so forth. So if we do high level from beginning, like kind of before and after, is there anything else that you could use to describe your situation before you kind of called me?
I feel like the emotional eating part was getting more, not less. And that's why I turned to this other thing. The more stricter diets I went on, I felt like so I go on a stricter diet, and then the binging and emotional eating would go right up with it, maybe more. And so I felt like that was very out of control when I got into contact with you. And I would tell you, oh my God, Jared, remember my matzo crackers when I was eating boxes of matzo crackers?
I do. I do.
But I would come home from work exhausted, stressed out, go to the pantry, and Katie barred the door. It was bad.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was possessed, like I couldn't stop myself. Yeah.
Yeah, you were
just face dive into the pantry.
Yep. So the biggest challenge was time, which I appreciate that. Like, it does take time and concentration and, to put this as a priority in your life to make it happen. Keeping it high level for a second, after, where are you at? I think I saw it was like, in the beginning it was 5 times binge eating a week, and then by the end it was like 2 or something like that. How's it going?
Good news. No, I do not have that binge eating anymore of the out of control one. I don't.
No way.
Even yes.
Oh my God.
Even oh my God. So when my kids were home for a month from college, I got the matzo crackers. And one night I was on the way to my son's basketball game, and I was going at the matzo crackers with my peanut butter. And my daughter goes, "What are you doing?" That was about as close. But if I start one, like say I start the binge eating, I used to go here, I stop it here.
Yeah.
I do what I learned from you, which is like, what's the cue? I'm exhausted. I'm in a hurry, whatever, of many things. Like there's a pantry, and then I have to stop and pause and redirect. And that has, like, if I'm unconsciously eating or binging, that has stopped me from one of those full blown, 200%.
Yeah.
That for sure, I'm done.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
I told you I was a good student.
You are an amazing student. Like you showed up. You were freaking
I
real. I love
can
connecting with you.
You told me, okay, it's still hard for me. The other thing, so okay, binging better. And like today even, I was unconsciously eating a little bit, and I'm like, okay, stop, put it down. But I don't have the Cruella DeVille voice where it's like, oh my God, Gina, you're so fat, you're never gonna lose weight. I just tell myself, what's going on? Put my hand on my heart and just stop and kind of go from there.
You made a reference that's kind of an inside, not a joke, but an inside thing between us. Cruella DeVille. I know what you mean. In case someone's watching, what do you mean by the Cruella DeVille person?
So I have a really mean voice in my head about food. Like anytime I don't do the most perfect whatever eating, or I do an overeating, unconscious eating, I have the voice that comes on that says, "You're a loser. You're never going to get this right. You're the pits of the world." A very harsh critic, horrible voice that goes inside my brain.
And that voice is, I mean, probably the longest to go away as we talked about setting realistic expectations. Before, how was it before? How was it after?
The voice is still there.
Yeah.
It's not as long, like it doesn't get as much life. And I think I'm able to recognize it and go, okay, wait a minute. And just like I keep using, like I pretend I'm a scientist and very objective. Like, and I'll even have to write it down. Like the voice says, you're gonna get fired, or you're whatever it says. And then I would say, what's the truth? Because it's 99.9% a lie. So I write down the lie, and then I have to say, but what's reality?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that voice distorts reality and all sorts of different things. And I realized too, we haven't clarified, how long did we work together? We worked together for what, 3 months? It was
3 months.
3 months.
Twice a week. It was intense.
Yeah, it was.
This was just like, yeah. And sometimes I would call in my car between appointments, or that, or in a store. I think one time we started talking at home here a lot. And I just made it work. Then the other thing is I kept up my reading, and I took this whole book of notes. This is like my Jared book.
Oh my gosh. I love it. I love it.
I know. So because after we talked, you always sent me a video.
Yeah.
So then that was, there was a lot of like, say, more information, or if we got off topic, go figure, which is good. But so a lot of that is just stuff that's in the video.
Yeah. What were some of your favorite parts or aspects of the program? What was it, the videos? What were some of your favorite aspects of the whole thing, the 3-month program?
I think just showing up and talking to you, because I would take notes of the video, and like one thing that I feel like you helped me with that I still am working on, it's very hard for me to get in touch with my emotions and recognize them, identify them, and like validate, or without saying, oh, that's a bad emotion, don't feel it, or it just is what it is. So that's hard. But this more than anything I've ever been through is help me start that process and dig into it.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, like, what was unique about working with me? What was unique about this whole program?
I think it was, like I said, so you met me where I was. So if I would say, like, after Nick broke his collarbone, and I didn't even know what I was feeling, because here my son was like really into football and hoping for promising things in college. And then he has this like, stunning injury. So I didn't know, like, am I sad? Am I mad? Am I glad it's not that bad of an injury? He's going to stop. So that took weeks to even process through that.
Yeah. And how did you process through that? I mean, you've listed some strategies already, from writing out in your journal to beginning to understand how you felt. But I mean, I hear you where it's very difficult to feel and process. And like, if someone's wondering how to do that in a nutshell, what would you say to them?
Um, I would say you two just sit.
Yeah.
I would just sit, or I would walk, and I would, like, I just had to be quiet with it. And it went on for a long time because it was a 6-week injury. It's still going on in some sense that he's still, exploring those college options and things. But for me, it was just taking it one day at a time. And you taught me lean into the emotion. So it could be exasperated, or I could be sick of it, or, just a lot of, I think it helped me help him deal with his emotions through it too.
Yeah, like you, in some sense, became a better parent.
Yes. Oh, for sure. Yes. And a better listener, like, well, what do you think about that? Or how do you feel? And just listening.
Yeah, oftentimes when we, free up mental headspace from this eating, this
Yes.
eating stuff, it's like we have all this energy and thought processing power that we previously didn't have, and that enables us to be a better listener, to be a better uh, mother. How else did this impact you? Did stopping binge eating help you in life?
Okay. The huge I got was not reacting, like just reacting at something. So instead of reacting at a big situation at work or in the family, it's like, don't react, step back and process and objectify it in a way, like be objective about it. So
Yeah,
really don't react. Pause, pause in the pantry, pause at work when people are getting emotional in a meeting, and just level set.
yeah, and some of the steps that enable people to pause is this weird thing. Maybe it's not weird for you anymore, but this weird thing of, if I do have food, then it's okay. I can have whatever I want as long as I eat it mindfully, as long as I'm connected and not disconnected. Oftentimes, can you speak about this? How does taking away food rules help you?
But since I've talked to you, you taught me that, because I used to think, like, because I love to cook and prepping and eating healthy, that was being diety. But I realized after working with you, no, like that's taking care of myself. So when I just cooked yesterday, today, like tons of self care. I made great food. I've got cut up vegetables. I roasted vegetables. So, but that's how I feel better. And I am losing weight because I don't think of it as food waste. But then, like, if I go out to a client lunch and we're at a, I don't know, Mexican restaurant with chips and whatever, and say it's not healthy food, I just eat mindfully, like a 2 to 2, like you told me. Am I hungry? Okay. slow down. And then I just don't eat very much. And I told you, remember the sad day when I realized since I'm so old, I don't need much food. I don't get
Yeah.
hungry that much. I know, I was like, crap, because I think I was fixing food for my 17-year-old football player who's eating half a pan of lasagna. And I think, well, I'm only eating a fourth of a pan. But I need about that much. I don't need a lot of food.
Yeah.
I mean, for me at this point in my life, I don't get that hungry, and but I can have like 4 bites, 6 bites of something I really want and not feel overfull and be like, okay, great, move on. I don't freak out.
Yeah. And this is coming from within. This is not because I'm
Yes.
telling you or anything like that to eat less. It's like you're learning to trust your body, and it takes some time to trust your body, but it sounds like you're trusting your body. And your body's telling you, and it's your body's leading you to naturally eat healthier.
Yes. And I like that. I told you, even as a teenager, I did not like fast food. I was an athlete, and I always liked good food. My mom was a good cook. So I never, went through this, like I have to go to McDonald's 5 times a day.
Yeah.
But I think too, the other thing that you taught me was connecting with the feelings. And then that part about self-care is not a diet. Because I don't take care of myself. Remember my problem? I'm like last on my list of like 17 people. And so so my prayer every day is I go, Lord, help me take care of myself so I can take better care of others.
Oh,
That's what I got out of class.
that's so beautiful. That's amazing.
I mean, I'm working on.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing you did was give me permission to take care of myself.
Yeah.
In a weird way.
I know oftentimes people have a block, a limiting belief, some sort of voice in their head that they have to be a perfectionist. They have to be in control. And then you realized that self-care was not a diet, that it wasn't bad for you, and it helped you be more productive and show up and be a better person.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. I love it.
I would say that, like, I also learned from you that the binge eating, the mindless eating is just an easy way to disconnect from emotions. So for me, all these years, it's easier to just go to the food instead of sit down and go, oh my God, I am so angry right now. Because remember, I didn't feel like it was okay to be angry.
Yeah.
Or I'm so sad or mad or glad or whatever. And
yeah, these feelings, we cover them up with food.
yes.
Yeah. For me, that was the same. Pot, weed, cover it up, numb out. Yeah. I remember we talked about what's the reward of binge eating? Like, what are you getting out of it? And
No.
yeah.
Numbing
out.
It's the same thing with weed. I was really on weed. That's what I told my son, my own weed.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. Yeah. What's the timeline been like for you? So maybe it's been about 5 months. What's been like, in terms of like binge eating, emotional eating, intense emotions that lead to food, what, did it get worse before it got better? Did it go straight down? Probably not. What was that kind of, was it kind of like this? Yeah.
It's up and down. It's very up and down. And I think it got harder before it got better.
Yeah.
A lot harder. And you would always tell me, like, this isn't gonna get serious. It's gonna get serious. But I think that part's hard of it, like just really looking at yourself honestly and saying, okay, this is my stuff that I've got to deal with.
Yeah.
And, I really learned a lot of people act like, oh, it's this deep, dark and secret and something's really wrong with me. I don't think that's the answer either. Yes, there can be childhood things or dark secret things, but the bottom line for all of us is this is a faulty coping skill. That's the bottom line.
That,
I don't care if you've been like beat up or thrown out of your house or whatever, you're using this to cope, and food can't deal with emotions. It just can't.
yeah, that's this word eating enlightenment. It means a lot of things, but one of
Yes.
them certainly is that there's nothing wrong with you. Your brain,
Yes. No. The other thing is I am going to be stressed. I love my job, but it's a lot. I manage 13 people. I have a husband. I have 4 kids. I have grandkids. Everybody's like, scratching for their own whatever. There's going to be stress. Okay. I don't know anybody that's getting out of here without it. So, and some people may not have those things in their life, and they have a lot of stress in their head. I have that too. My head goes at 800 miles an hour. So I told myself before working with you, I am going to do this for myself because I have to learn how to cope with stress in a healthy way, in a better way,
yeah,
without food, because food isn't really helping.
I know it helps temporarily, but it really doesn't help temporarily. And it's like it's another Buddhist concept. It's samsara, it's an illusion. Like it seems like it's
Oh,
happening, but if you're honest, if you're clear, if you're aware, it isn't.
no.
Yeah, it's a lose-lose situation. There was something in the beginning. I asked you to put away the scale. What was that like? I think we weighed the pros and cons and kind of were like, thank you dieting for, that was what I was doing before. And then we said, okay, but now I'm going to let you go. And we put the scale in a box, or I forget if you threw it away or whatever.
Yeah.
What was that like, not checking your weight? Yeah.
It, it was fun
Okay, cool.
because I think I told myself, I'm investing in this program time wise. I'm just going to do what he says. I'm just going to, and you know what it taught me since then? I have not a lot. I think it's a good check in. And I have to go. Remember, I have migraines and my back and neck problems. So I have to go to the neurologist and weigh there. I told that happened once during our thing. And before I have like a speech, I tell myself before the scale and a speech after. It really doesn't matter if it says 100 pounds, 200, or 300. No matter what I have the same soul. So what kind of body it's in is very transient. It's going to transition.
Yeah, it's
So I just don't get excited about it anymore. It's just a number. Before it defined me. It told me you're bad, you're good, you're, whatever. Lovable. Now it's like, okay, that's a number. Just like, this is a cup. That's a number.
absolutely. Yeah, that is so key. And like what people fail to realize is, when you're trying to diet, you're not changing your fundamental identity. But when
Right.
we do this, we'll say eating enlightenment stuff, health at every size, intuitive eating, whatever, how does it change you? Or it changes you. It changes you. It's different than your body. It does change your body, eating healthier, of course, and moving, et cetera, taking care of yourself, but it's deeper than that. What are your thoughts on kind of that?
I think it changes your thinking in such a powerful way in changing the way you react to like a basic situation or a very big situation, that you say, pause, reflect, and that compassionate voice that you train people. Like you'd go, oh, wait a minute, Gina, I hear the Corella voice. Like when I'm talking about myself. So I have to stop myself. So I think it's a way of life in that way. And I would say that it makes me more compassionate towards others. Like, wait a minute, that was a real judgy thought, like they're a freak or whatever. Let's step back. That was a little, out there.
Yeah, I could certainly imagine that helping relationships out and everything like that. Yeah. Um,
We
um,
covered a lot.
how's weight?
But
What's
I would
that at? Or not at, but stay the same, up,
yes.
down? I think you said stay the same,
No,
right?
my weight is down. My weight is down
Oh,
since we did And that was over the holidays.
No way.
Yeah, because I think you just said it best at the beginning. It frees up headspace. It frees up that kind of fanatic thinking that goes inside the head to say, okay, I'm not hungry. I don't want to eat. I mean, and I think it was interesting. My grandson, he's 2, he was here for like 2 weeks. And kids are funny. He might eat a ton at one and then not eat for a day and a half, not very much. So I think if you watch a 2-year-old, they can be really hungry and eating a lot, or they have something they love and they're just like, eh. And so that was kind of a validation. That's really how we should be, or it makes sense to be that way.
Yeah, it does.
Also told me one time, like, eat a breakfast, 3 or 4 hours in lunch, and then a snack, and then dinner. So having a schedule that helps me, that's my personality. Like, okay, I kind of know what's going on. That I think helped me successfully eat for my body, to know, okay, and if it didn't work, it didn't work for whatever reason. So it wasn't like you do this or other. So it was like, okay, this is a framework. And I kind of tried it, and I added the proteins, and I did certain things. And then I found, after working with you, like coffee, I was drinking coffee all day. And I think that was part of my crash when I'd come home and binge and be crazy. So I started saying, okay, well, why am I drinking coffee all day? I don't even love it that much, but I do like, especially in winter here, something hot to drink. They have this awesome at work, like different organic teas in our break rooms are really cool. I'm like, why don't I have tea? So I switched to that. So sometimes as you're looking at yourself, it's not this huge change. Like, oh, and my neurologist, by the way, was super excited I got off the pot of coffee a day, because that's really bad for migraine. So I think I was doing things that just weren't healthy for me, that weren't even about food. Not enough water, coffee all day, to the point where I was shaking. So sometimes we're just going around like, busy and doing things that we sit back and we're like, why am I drinking espresso all afternoon? That's a little much.
Yeah.
For me.
No, yeah. And you were able to do this yourself. Like you were.
I did it myself. I just did what you taught me. I said, okay.
Like I gave you training wheels in a certain sense.
Right.
But then you kind of started steering on your own.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
With the tea
other
and
thing was that mindful eating and stopping, like that 2 to 2. I think that's helped me, because honestly, after about 3 or 4 bites, even if it's a Snickers or ice cream or something you love, it's over.
Oh,
it's
like where the food stops
enjoyment.
tasting as good and stuff. The enjoyment. Yeah.
And the first bite's always the best. We know that. And so knowing I can have it again in 2 hours or tomorrow, you know what? I don't need to have the 2 king size Butterfingers.
This mentality right here is so important. I can have it if I want it. Like,
yes,
it's freedom. It is freedom. It is freedom. And it's the key to everything. I mean, yeah.
And the other thing you taught me, or I got out of it, like when the pantry calls my name, like, come binge in the pantry, I go like this, okay, I can binge if I want.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't tell myself I couldn't binge. I'm like, tonight, you remember that one day you told me to go binge? And I was like, what? But I was like, okay, I could binge tonight. This could be a really good day. And you know what? If I can, I'm okay with it too. So I want to say that to people.
Yeah.
Go binge. If you need to binge and you hate everybody and you're having a crappy day and you want to go eat half a gallon of ice cream, go do it. But don't feel bad afterwards.
Yeah.
Go, damn, I binged on the matzo crackers. I ate the whole box. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. And then a critical part too is, instead of guilt, replacing that with like learning and, reflection and going inward to self-understand, like what if you get rid of the guilt, what happens? Like, how do you, instead of guilt, how do you do the whole dance afterwards?
Okay, so like after the matzo crackers, my daughter said, I know you think you're enlightened, but you may not want those in the house. And she goes, because you get exhausted, you're gonna, and you know what? That was a really good point. So I passed him the store. I thought, you know what? I'm gonna wait on the matzo crackers till I get through this month. But I'll have them again. And guess what? I'll probably have too many, and that's okay.
It's okay. Yeah.
But I might have burnt myself out on that. So I don't know.
No,
Anyway.
yeah, burnt yourself out. That's kind of, what happens. Who's this program for? What types of people would benefit from taking this 3-month program?
Okay, any person out there who obsesses about food in any way, where food is more than fuel or, oh, let's have a little piece of birthday cake or enjoyment. And, if they are obsessing about food, I don't care what you weigh. If you're underweight or an ideal weight or overweight, if food is occupying all this mind space, that's who it's for.
And by freeing up your headspace, you've mentioned being a better mother. Did it make you a better manager at work? How else did it help you in life by freeing up headspace?
I think it makes you more compassionate.
Ah,
And I think it makes you a better listener to people. So before telling people what to do or how to do it, like, what do you think? Like, what are you feeling? Where are you coming from?
yeah,
I think it does.
absolutely. These are the hallmarks of the foundation of a really strong, emotionally intelligent life: empathy, self-awareness, and from this whole place, just living life differently.
The other super thing, and you and I had like a serious conversation about this, is I had this thing of being like a people pleaser and wanting to be liked all the time. And that made me suppress like true emotions too. But it also has helped me have very critical conversations with people, friends, family, and colleagues, work people, to say, look, this is what I'm seeing and what I'm feeling. And it can be hard. And I've also been able to take criticism, okay, like from my manager, who I've been a really good manager. She just told me something, really criticized me last week, but I told myself, you know what? I need to listen to that and see what I can take positive from it. So
Yeah.
go ahead. I welcome the criticism now.
Yeah.
Criticize me.
Yeah, this is such an important point. By looking inward and finding your emotional needs, you become stronger, more empowered, to handle criticism, but also to look someone in the eyes and be like, yo, no, or, whatever. You get that little oomph. You get a spine. You get a spine,
Remember when my daughter taught us the word trumor? She said, well, it's a rumor, but it might be true. And she calls it a trumor.
I vaguely remember that.
And then she also taught me, she heard on this podcast about a front stabber, and they're better than backstabbers because they tell it to your face. Well, I was working with one of my people on my team, an employee, and he said, you know what? He just lit into me at this one-to-one meeting. He goes, your meeting was terrible. You didn't start on time. And I know, he ripped me a new one. And I was kind of excited about it. I thought, before you, I would have been like, what the hell? Where are you coming from? And I'm like, okay, well, you know what? And he said something about it, and I go, hey, how about you do that the next meeting? Like, I gave him an assignment, which was probably mean. But I thought, you know what? As much as he was a front stabber, like stabbing me in my face, he was kind of right. And about everything he said. I think he could have been a little nicer on the delivery, but you know what? Front stab me all you want. I tell you, I respect the guy more than people who leave a meeting and go, oh, she sucked. Like that doesn't help anybody.
Absolutely.
So I think you helped me appreciate front stabbers.
I love it. Yeah. It seems like
if anybody wants to like front stabbers or become a front stabber, take your program.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten my master's or PhD. I'm slowly going up the steps.
Yeah.
Slowly.
Like the steps to, PhD, full PhD, or you mean in terms of eating and everything? Yeah.
Yes.
Just one quick topic. It's like, this isn't, you see how you can practice. Like you're maybe 3 months ago you were here, maybe after 3 months you were there. Now it's been a few months and you're here, and you can see like, these are things that I'm doing and I'm going to keep going up and up and up and up. And like, the sky's the limit, really. I mean, it takes time and, all these different things, but yeah. Yeah.
I would say to people, all the things about eating, yes, but it's other things that we just talked about. And I think the most important point to having the growth mindset or growing is being compassionate with yourself. Because if we're going to beat ourselves up about food or whatever, you cannot grow. You cannot, like, think of a dog after they're beaten in the corner, well, they're not going to get better. We can't move forward if we're going to be in a state of shame and blame. So I
Yeah.
think that's what it's helping.
Yeah. I
When I
remember.
do go through that, to go back from it.
Yeah. Like that, they call that the growth mindset, right? Like the shameful criticizing voice keeps us locked in a fixed mindset. We repeat the same patterns, but compassion and reflection, self-reflection, learning, listening, that unlocks the growth mindset. And the growth mindset is like, I mean, it's the key to everything. It's, yeah.
One thing you helped me with, you might not remember this, but I told you one day that I was too old to do my job. I hated everybody. I couldn't do this anymore. And you go, wait a minute, are you too old or do you just think you're too old? I'm like, yeah, why do I think I'm too old? I have more energy than a lot of people that are 23 on my team. So I think even that was such a fixed mindset about my age. And I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
so what was I thinking? So it can be about anything.
True. Yeah. It doesn't just have to be around food. It can be around weight, the scale is good or bad. And yeah, like how you're showing up at work and everything. Yeah. Cool.
All right, Jared.
Thank you so
Keep up the
much. Yeah.
work, buddy.
Yeah.
Hey, and I'll text you after the Super Bowl.
Okay.
All right, be good.
I'm going to root for the Chiefs now.
You better.
All
I'm going
right.
to text you.
All right.
All right, be good.
Okay.
Talk to